Hello everyone, Maryann here, revealing light tarot, astrology and spirituality wherever you are in the world. When you're watching, a huge shout out to you. Okay, well, dominating the headlines today, of course, is the Epstein survivors speaking out. We had Trump making an appearance or a comeback after 7 odd days out of the public eye. We all know, you don't need cards to tell you that he is unwell. Now, September was a key month in all my readings. And I want to say, look at what's happened so far in September. It's going to be all about the Epstein victims, the Epstein curse, if you like, on Donald Trump. Because it won't go away. It's not going to go away. And I think there's even more to come on that. Now, we also have Putin, Xi Jinping and Kim Jong-un and others from BRICS meeting, Modi from India meeting in what can only be described as a show of power, a show of strength. And this comes at a time when the United States, which is the most powerful military in the Western world anyway, seems to be adrift and afloat and kind of well, I don't need to say any more than that. So we've got a lot to get through today. There's just some of the areas that I'll touch on. I want to also say that the MAGA, the heartland or the beating heart of the MAGA, seems to have joined with the Democrats to try and get these Epstein files, all of them, not cherry-picked pages with Trump's name taken out or redacted, released by Pam Bondi, who's doing the will of the White House. Not that, but the entire files released. Marjorie Taylor Greene spoke at the Epstein victims, the survivors, I should say, conference, and she spoke extremely well. Thomas Massey, really, really strong MAGA people. I watched an interview with Ro Khanna, the Democrat that's leading the charge, with Thomas Massey, the Republican, say that MAGA influencers were covering that conference today in greater numbers than Democratic Party influencers. Well, here's the thing. Democratic Party is saying, okay, we know Bill Clinton, former president, Democratic Party president, is in the Epstein files. We don't care. We know that Trump is too. We already know that's the case. We don't care how many Democratic Party people are in the files. Release them. Let's get justice for the victims. And then on the other hand, some MAGAs, not all, are saying Trump's not in there. It's a Democratic hoax and whatever. So you see the difference here. Now, Trump is fighting real hard not to get those, not to have those released. He's threatened to, literally put out a hit on any Republicans that vote to have them released. So far, all Democrats and 4 Republicans have are standing with the Democrats. Nancy Mace is among those standing with the Democrats to get this. It's a bipartisan push. They need two more Republican votes, and so we'll ask if they'll get that. So we're going to cover that. Also, what's motivating Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey? I think it probably has something to do with, we know Trump's on his way out. I think it's like positioning themselves, but maybe that's a fairly hard thing to say. Maybe, just maybe, they've been impacted by the Epstein survivors and the words and the cases that they bring. Maybe they really do want to see all of it exposed, regardless of whether this includes Trump or not. Well, obviously they do. Also want to touch again on Will Scotus fine deploying the National Guard illegal. As you know, a federal judge in I think it was in California, has found that Trump broke the law when he deployed the National Guard to California. He didn't tell them to go. He's left that for the Supreme Court. So we will look at that again because I want a clear answer on that. It affects everything, including whether or not the National Guards are going to be in Chicago in the longer term, or whether he will be able to deploy them at his will. It is very crucial. I should say there's been a lot of wins for the Democratic Party, and September really is a key month of change. It's a time when I said things would start to shift. Now, I don't know how that's going to play out as we move through September, but we've already started with the Epstein survivors coming forward. We've already started with pressure to bring the entire Epstein files into the public view. We've already started with, obviously, Trump's unwellness. We've had the tariff decision. Tariffs are illegal. Deploying the National Guard are illegal. All of this has got to go before the SCOTUS, of course. But these are federal appeals courts that are deciding on these cases. Also want to have a look at whether Trump underwent a medical procedure in his time away from the public. We'll take a look at that. We'll also look at Xi Putin and Kim Jong-un, and just see whether this is an intimidation thing that they're trying to pull off. And will Trump ever get tough on Putin where Ukraine is concerned? Before we start, though, and I just want to mention the eclipse in relation to the Epstein files. It looks like the stars are aligning, because there is a total lunar eclipse, a blood moon eclipse on the 7th of September, 7th, 8th of September. And there's a grand trine between Saturn and conjunct Pisces, meaning, it's time to bring something that has been manifesting, whether that be karmic or otherwise. There's a trine between Saturn and Neptune, Pluto in Aquarius, power to the people, and Uranus in Gemini, lightning quick communication. That's a trine, their grand trine. So I am thinking that this has to do with the Epstein, and it's just going to keep going from here. Obviously, there's an opposition between the moon and the sun. I mean, that's what happens in eclipses. But there's also an opposition to Mercury there alongside Pluto. So it's like the North Node, of course, is there, and the South Node next to the Sun. So it's almost like there's a karmic ring to this eclipse, that something that has been hidden is coming to light. The other thing because of people power. The other thing I want to mention about the eclipse is Jupiter in Cancer is squaring Mars in Libra, so there's some kind of karmic justice occurring, I feel, in this chart. There's also a trine from the moon, the North Node, straight down to Jupiter in Cancer. So there's a lot of feeling going on, expansive feeling about wanting justice at this time. There's a sextile between Jupiter through to the Sun there in Virgo. So the details, we want the details, we want the files, is what that eclipse is telling me. And there's a karmic aspect around timing and the way that we have manifested this. So let's see what's going to happen. Let's see if we get the votes first, I think, is where we go. I think all of us want to see justice for these women. We want to see the cover-ups for rich and powerful men end, and we want to know the full truth. So, will they get enough GOP votes to release the full Epstein files? Will they get enough Republican votes to release? They need 2 more. Will they get enough Republican votes to release the Epstein files? Will they get enough Republican votes to release the Epstein files? Yeah, I'm just seeing that chart again. It's almost like it's in the sky. So we get abuse of power and sabotage here, and then we get the Page of Cups. So surprise. We're going to see maybe some Republicans step up that you wouldn't think would step up. Let's keep going. The voter is at the foundation of the reading. So there's a lot of political pressure on Republicans now to release the whole Epstein files. The Two of Pentacles is in the past, so there's been a juggling, trying to cover up, trying to keep the files under lock and key. We saw what happened with Todd Blanche and Ghislaine Maxwell. Imagine how those survivors felt. Victims, survivors, however you want to refer to them. Imagine how they felt to see Ghislaine Maxwell transferred to a pretty much a low-key, low-security camp, more so than a prison. Interesting, though. Okay, so the two... I will go back. Okay, so the Two of Pentacles. You can see in this card, I'm using the old-style tarot. You can see this head here. So it's like they were juggling in the past to keep these things under lock and key, because they really do contain the kind of information that will ruin Trump and bring the truth out. Now, we know that. You and I know that. But this is what they were juggling. They were juggling it on his behalf. So we have here, and when you get like that, it's kind of like you're in a no-win situation, because sooner or later you're going to drop the ball. The Two of Swords, crossroads, heavy decisions to make. Remember, he's put a hit, almost the equivalent of a political hit out on Republicans should they vote. It seems to me that they're going to. We're going to find, and we maybe have a woman Republican coming forward pretty soon. Not Mace, not Marjorie Taylor Greene. They've already signed on to this, but hopefully Mace won't change her vote. But there could be some other woman coming forward here. The Four of Pentacles is in the present. So this is like withholding, closing ranks, withholding information. But we get 3 cups lost and 1 cup remaining. So we're going to, I think, see that's in the environment around. We're going to see someone commit to this pretty soon, possibly a woman. The Ten of Wands we have in the hopes and fears. It's like real struggling. I can't underscore the karmic nature of all of this, that we've had decades and decades of cover-ups for rich and powerful men. One of the victims or survivors said that Epstein boasted of his relationships, his friendships with rich and powerful men that could, the implication was, could help cover everything up. So what power do you have? And the biggest brag of all was Donald Trump. In the outcome, we have the King of Wands. This is my kind of card for the congressional reps. It's a yes, by the way. It shows someone. I asked, will they get the vote? Stepping up with bravery, and we get something coming to fruition in time. Could be 2 days, 2 weeks, but be patient. I think one comes forward, maybe a woman comes forward fairly quickly, and then someone else comes forward at the last minute. They get the votes. Thank bloody God for that. Sorry, but so often we've seen them run out on their responsibilities. And we get the justice. Remember, Mars is in Libra at this eclipse. This is a very karmic eclipse for Donald Trump. We get justice at the base of the pack. Oh gosh, that's a really good reading. Okay, so I'm going to say, I hope I'm right. I'm not always right, remember, but more often than not, I am. But I hope I'm right this time. I've kind of got skin in the game on this one. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's just have a look at what's motivating Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's been sort of on a lot of people's enemies list. She's done some said some terrible things, done some terrible things. And suddenly I'm retweeting her and Massey on this subject. It's like, really? Okay. What's motivating MTG? And well, let's look at her. What's motivating And I think Massey's going to make a run in 2028. I think he's carving out a name for himself. Let's have a look. What's her deal? Why is Marjorie Taylor Greene going against Trump in such a vocal, obvious way? Why is Marjorie Taylor Greene going against Trump in such an obvious, vocal way? There's history there, I feel, going back. Something she wanted, maybe she didn't get. In some way, they've fallen out. Her attempts, I think, to be close to him failed. I don't know. There's a past there. Planning and strategizing, and then the world. Okay, so this is very much about when Trump's no longer around. This is very much about the future. Okay, Seven of Cups, illusion and delusion. So, okay, that's at the foundation of the reading. Maybe on this, she knows something that we don't, and she feels she's been. But look, you'd have to be blind not to have known that Trump was almost, well, I'm going to say allegedly as bad as Epstein. Okay, the Page of Wands in the past. Somebody's told her something. That's what I feel. Somebody's told her something about Trump. She knows more than we do. She knows for sure more than we do. Three of Pentacles. There's three of them. Who is it? So far, Massey herself, and there's someone else in this as well. I don't think it's Mace. It's another MAGA influencer. Is it Gates? Matt Gates. The Knight of Pentacles, stability in the near future. We get the Ten of Pentacles, which is, it's let's face it, the money they all make off this MAGA grifting, fundraising, women. This is about the future. This is about positioning herself in 2028. It's about also, you never do anything for one reason. There's about 10. And I feel that in the past she's been shunned, locked out of the Trump inner circle. And then we get the King of Pentacles in the sky. And then get the Eight of Swords. Yeah, she's genuinely worried about him, what he can do to her. Yeah, the MAGA cult. She's definitely worried, but she has plans of her own. Okay, there's the Apprentice card. And the Four of Swords, wounded. So I think really she sees blood in the water for Trump as well. Again, more than one reason. I think she's genuinely scared of Trump. But she's pushing ahead because she's got other designs on the future, whether it be future campaign funding, keeping the MAGA base, becoming a MAGA hero, whatever. But yeah, she's genuinely scared of him. Genuinely scared, and she's been told something about him. What's underneath the Knight of Cups? He could try and the Wheel of Fortune, he could try and change her vote. Okay, but that's not known yet. That's just a thought in the cards. It's not something that would come to fruition yet. I hope not. I think they get the votes anyway. All right, let's have a look at, they're positioning themselves for the future MAGA heroes. Same with Massey as well. Although, they genuinely do believe that the Epstein files should be released. There's that aspect as well. Okay, so hence the bipartisan nature of this. If I were Trump, I would be worried right now, particularly with that astrology chart. They're almost like a karmic timing for all of this to play out. Okay, let's just see, is there more to come on Epstein? More to come, more women. I haven't, I've done readings where I've seen a glimpse of someone bringing forward a money trail on Trump, whether or not he's bribed, as one of my viewers suggested, bribed a victim. I think a few readings ago I said there may have been an NDA on someone. Is there another victim that will link Trump directly, getting ready to come forward? All right, so we get the Four of Swords, wounded. All of those women, should be worried. Trump is not he's a dangerous person. As we all know, the Ace of Cups is, okay, their feelings are stronger. Somebody stepped back in the past, but their feelings, again, that Jupiter connection to Mars in the chart, their feelings are stronger than their need to. They're perhaps fighting that feeling now. Jupiter squaring Mars in Libra. So there is the feelings fighting the need for justice. But often squares can bring forward a achievement because of the conflict, the tussle. People will try harder to get to their aims. So, I think she might be in the background, and her feelings are getting stronger. We have the Lovers card here, and that is somebody who perhaps had a relationship with him in the past. It's a secret. My God, look at these cards. The High Priestess is in the background, is in the past. A secret has been kept. The Eight of Pentacles in the sky. That is money again, but it's also skill. Somebody's been paid. There she is, the Queen of Pentacles, getting ready to come forward. We have an inevitability, a judgment in the here and now. And then we get the Eight of Wands headlines. These cards are so interesting. Six of Pentacles, there's a debt here. Somebody's been paid to be quiet. And then we have the blank card, which is neither a yes nor a no. It's like the battle is still going on between her feelings. She wants to come forward, but then we have strength coming to clarify the ambiguity, a show of strength, and then the King of Swords, the planning, strategizing, the prosecutor, and then the World. I think she's going to decide, even though I've got that blank card, to come forward. She's been paid to be quiet. There's some kind of money connection that will tie Trump to her. And I think she's getting ready to come forward. She's facing this internal battle, but I think that ultimately she will. Now, this is somebody that will directly tie Trump to Epstein in terms of having abuse, sexual abuse of a minor. It's that kind of tying together, allegedly. Now, remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Okay, now let's go to SCOTUS. Will they find the deployment of the National Guard? We're not going to get through all of the questions, I don't think. Let's see. Will SCOTUS find the deployment of the National Guard illegal? Will SCOTUS find the deployment of the National Guard illegal? Will SCOTUS find the deployment of the National Guard illegal? What are you going to do? Will SCOTUS find deployment of the National Guard without the governor's permission by a federal government? Will they find it illegal? Gee, they're between a rock and a hard place. Well, when I say that, according to their politics, Eight of Swords, restriction, and then the Nine of Wands, boundaries. Okay, so I think they're going to find it is illegal. They can't find any other way. Remember, anything they do will affect future presidents. The Seven of Swords, lies. Lies is at the foundation of the reading. Knight of Swords in the past, so we get the truth, we get the action coming through, the truth about this. The truth doesn't come forward unless you fight to bring it forward. The Moon card is in the sky, volatility, things underneath the surface. We get the Wheel of Fortune in the immediate future, suggesting a favourable decision. Queen of Pentacles, stability, domestic stability, and the Nine of Pentacles, the economy, wealth. There's something around payment for this, for really using the National Guard as a police force. All of these things that SCOTUS has to consider. The Ten of Pentacles, again, people's wealth, money, livelihoods. National Guardsmen, Trump's been basically underpaying them. And then we get the Four of Cups, disappointment. Three Cups lost, one remaining, and the Page of Pentacles. I don't see it's a real strong decision. It should be straight out illegal, but they're going to dance around it a bit. I think ultimately they do find that he doesn't have the authority there under the act that he's used. And the Ten of Cups, the families and voters know. I don't. It's going to surprise you what they do and what they say about this, because it says a lot about authoritarianism and what's going on in the streets of the US at the moment. But I hope, I'm just going to say I'm hopeful that they will find this illegal. The Page of Swords, not all SCOTUSes will. The Knight of Cups and the Ace of Wands. So they'll give him a bit of an out in some way, but I think ultimately it's illegal. And there's something around the payment of the National Guard as well that's in there. The responsibility for paying. So without the governor's permission. So that could be an argument that the blue states might bring up, that there's been no authorization on the state's part. So I'm hopeful that they do find that it's illegal. Okay, let's go to Trump and a medical procedure. So did he have a medical procedure in the 7 odd days that he was out of the public view? Never gone that long in his presidency without saying something on the megaphone. Did Trump have a medical procedure? What can you show me? Did Trump have a... it does have to do with his heart. Maybe he had stents put in. But there's something here around his heart. I keep going back to that. The two areas that I seem to fall, back on, or with the cards that seem to illuminate, is heart trouble and strokes. They're the two areas that seem to come up. So we have the president, the emperor, control. Okay, did Trump have a medical procedure in the 7 days that he was away? Did Trump have a medical procedure in the 7 days that he was away? Strongest yes card in the pack. I almost don't need to go any further. You see that in the Fool and you know that it's pretty strong. So we have the Sun card. That's a yes. And the Lovers. The Lovers can be relationships. And then inevitability, the Judgment card. It's almost like yes. I've gone through all this before. He's been told he can't do certain things. He's been told to slow down. He's been given some very bad medical news. And we have the Judgment card again at this time in this eclipse. The two key areas are his unwellness, his obvious health problems, and the Epstein files. He must kind of feel like, what's he done to deserve all this? Well, maybe he knows. Okay, so we get the Nine of Cups in the past, wish fulfillment, and we get justice and judgment here. This is a very strong indication that whatever's going on, it's unavoidable, it's timing, there's a karmic nature to it. Our time comes up in this life, and sometimes there's no getting away from it. Knight of Wands, a plan, maybe a plan to do something. We get a lot of worry and anxiety in the here and now, and the Magician, manifestation, a manifestation of worry too. This could be sorry for him too, his worry. Oh my God, hopes and fears. Oh my God, there is something really, 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 really strong here going on with his health. We get the Justice, the Judgment, and the Tower. Anyone that knows, and the Sun, anyone who knows, because we will know sooner or later. I said they were going to take their time, but anyone who knows anything about card reading will know these are very, very strong indications. Yeah, he's struggling. He's struggling. Did he have a medical procedure? He's struggling with his strength. And we get planning and strategizing. They have to plan for his illness. And then we get complete and utter downfall. It's possible, but the Ten of Wands is not a yes card, it's a no, but it's clarified by the Strength, which is a strong yes card. So I'm going to say it's possible he had a medical procedure, but he had a medical event. And, yeah, Judgment, Justice, the Tower, the Sun card, and the Ten of Swords. I think he underwent some sort of procedure to try and correct whatever's going on with him. Give him more health in a failing health scenario. Sort of try and, it's like putting a Band-Aid over something, over a wall of water. That's what I'm feeling. We get the Voter, the Knight of Swords, the Truth, and the Six of Pentacles, and then the Four of Swords. Yeah, the voters deserve the truth about this. His health is. There are two things that need to come out: the Epstein files and the truth about his health. Okay, all right. We've got one more question, and it'll be Xi Jinping. Let's just change decks. Xi Jinping and Putin and Kim Jong-un. Okay, the show of strength recently in the last couple of days. Ooh, Russia. At a time when America is severely compromised. And as a result, the rest of the Western allies are severely compromised, let's face it. Let's see, was this a show of strength? Why did Putin, they had this massive military display, the three of them together. People made comments, I didn't realise so many were, a lot of nations were represented there. BRICS does represent a lot of nations. All right, so was this a show of strength? Was this designed to intimidate the West? Designed to intimidate the United States? Was this show of strength designed to intimidate the United States? It was designed to intimidate the world. And we get hope. Okay, so ending of something and then hope. We get moderation, temperance. I'm just going to say we shouldn't assume. We shouldn't, I don't know, like these people, they're war criminals. I don't know, there's something here that's positive, whether that's rebalancing rather than a unipolar world, a multipolar world is better, where there's a better balance of power. Trump is in the past. Oh, good God. So we get in the sky the Ten of Wands struggling. So we shouldn't assume that that the BRICS nations are the dominant ones. We shouldn't assume their ascendancy. The West is still very powerful. And the Eight of Pentacles, but they're an up-and-coming force. The world is changing. I've read on this before. It was simply a show of support for each other, but the atmosphere, we get lies and deceit. We get the devil in the hopes and fears. Well, of course, we look upon this and it's just not trustworthy. And then we get, they are not trustworthy. Then we get the Hermit. Okay, here's what it was designed to do, to isolate the United States. It was a show of strength to other nations in the West to say, okay, The world is changing. Where do you want to be in this changing world? It was a show of power, money, strength, and stability as well. So this was sort of like an ad, a marketing campaign. Look who's got the power now type thing. I don't know. I saw signs when Trump was first elected. America, America, what have you done? What have you done, MAGA? What have you done? Those voters that knew better, that voted him in for a second time. What have you done? All right. Okay, that's it. And, you know, when I make these comments, they obviously do not apply to anyone who didn't vote for him. And they do not apply to anyone who doesn't support him, obviously. Okay, so don't come for me. All right, then. That was a show of strength from the South, absolutely. And also an advertisement to say that the world is changing. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to be placed? Now, if America can stabilise its leadership, which I have seen in the future, and can undo some of this damage, then we shouldn't be sparring with the South all the time. There should be diplomacy and diplomatic relationships established, and cooperation where there can be cooperation. All right then, bye for now. I'll be back again on Monday.